Hello, everyone. This is the Minnesota Conference Communication Department. We are here with Elder Justin Lyons, the president of the conference. We're going to talk about some things that have been happening within our conference, our union, and maybe even the division. We will ask the question, in this environment of the COVID-19 pandemic, how do you think the church is doing?
Well, a lot of things have changed for sure. Things that we would not have dreamt 3 months ago. For one thing, we're sitting farther apart than we would typically. We're about 6 feet apart. Social distancing is in place. Many of our churches had to close in the middle of March because we're voluntarily following the governor's orders and the CDC and the Minnesota Department of Health and all of those things. So the social distancing has definitely had an impact upon us as a people. There are some things that are exciting that have come out of this. I would say that our pastors, our church leadership, our church members have stepped up and really adapted to the situation in terms of going online. Today, I think just about every pastor in the Minnesota Conference has an international media ministry. I even heard one of our pastors was reporting just this last week of a person tuning in and deciding they wanted to be baptized, and they're living in one of the closed countries of this world where we can't even really send open evangelists. So that's exciting. Prayer meeting attendance. Churches that were having prayer meetings before now are doing it online, and more people are attending online than there were before. Some other churches have started small group ministries and various online ministries in response to this crisis. So there are some positive things happening. Evangelistic meetings. Going online. Our Hispanic ministers are in their second series since this started.
That's true.
And it's looking like it's going well. People are choosing to indicate they want to be baptized. Some of our churches, some of our pastors have actually done some baptisms even during this COVID-19 pandemic, but they're having to do it in creative ways. So lots of impact that way. It impacts the conference office. We've got everybody working from home, except when they have to come into the office, if there's something that can only be done from the office. We got this rotating schedule going on, things like that.
This has been a very challenging time. And I assume that there have been some impacts on the conference itself in the way we manage things, and even maybe impact on the conference church at large. Would you like to elaborate if there have been any impact changes financially and otherwise?
Yes, financially, we, at the front end of all of this, we had deep concern. We're not sure what is coming. That was the thought in our head. And to a great extent, we still don't know. I don't have the gift of prophecy. But we have been pleased with the faithfulness of our God, the faithfulness of God's people, and the resourcefulness of church leadership in practicing financial stewardship. We were concerned that our tithe year to date would have been down for the end of March, and it was down almost 0.5%. But the North American division, the conferences, the total was down 4.88%. So something was different here. We feel blessed, and we want to give God the glory for that.
Praise the Lord.
We were then thinking, well, what's it going to be like then when we get through April? Because now we've had the whole month of April, churches are closed mostly. And we had churches, some churches asked people to mail in the tithe. Some asked people to go online and use the Adventist Giving app. Some actually went around and collected tithe. There had times where people could come and drop off their tithe envelopes. And that, we weren't sure what would happen in April. Well, we just got the number today. Our tithe through the end of April is actually up almost 3% over the same period last year.
Praise the Lord.
So we praise God. We have had some financial impact. You might not think that, but because of reservations or publications that have gone out, handbills, for example, some of our churches sent out handbills the very week that the stay-at-home order was issued. That's kind of like money down the tubes. But some of the things that have been canceled actually saved the conference money. For example, camp meeting. This year, camp meeting is canceled, and the money saved from that should be about enough to cover the salary and benefits of one full-time employee. So that's in the one way you could say that's a bad thing. We canceled camp meeting. The other way you can say, well, we've got a little bit of extra cushion financially. I want everybody to hear it. We're planning to have camp meeting again next year, okay? I don't want you to think that we're canceling camp meeting because it's saving money.
We are having camp meeting next year.
Yes, absolutely. That's our plan. Unless something crazy like this happens again, and I hope not. But our plan is to have camp meeting 2021.
Thank you.
Yes. So we've also been impacted by having to not cancel, but postpone our constituency session. Every 4 years, we have a constituency session where the officers are elected, the conference board of trustees, the academy board, the board of education. These various committees of the conference are elected, and we haven't been able to hold that meeting yet. So that's been postponed to October. We hope we don't have to postpone it further. Another impact there. It's impacted our office. Again, the same kinds of things that are affecting businesses all over the conference territory, other entities. We have people on alternating work schedules. We've got hand sanitizer at the doors. We've got the checklist. Do you have a fever today? And all of those kinds of things. We are trying to be good citizens and cooperate with the governor's executive orders.
We usually around July do an increase in terms of cost of living.
Yes.
How is that going this year?
That brings up a couple of thoughts that we've implemented to reduce our financial expenses in light of COVID-19 and the uncertainty. One of the first things we did is we cut the travel budgets, the office budgets here in the conference office. That saves some money. I wouldn't call it a ton of money, but it saves significant dollars. Another thing that we've just decided this past week is we're not going to implement the July 1 cost of living adjustments that typically happen. Every year, we usually have an increase in July 1, based on the prior year's increase in the consumer price index. We're not doing that this year. We're following the lead, as it were. The North American Division offices are not implementing it. The Mid-America Union offices are not. And we chose not to as well.
That's important. It's also, we should mention that it helps to manage the stewardship aspect of the church, and we thank the leadership for taking control of issues like that.
Not only are we not bringing this increase, part of what our thinking is we do not want to bring hardship to any of our employees. So we're being maybe extra cautious. We're going to make steps that we're taking steps, I should say, that we do not want to be in a position where we have to let anyone go. We would prefer, if there need to be cuts, that they will happen through attrition. And so we're kind of putting things in place so that if we have to make cuts, they'll come through attrition.
Good, good. We noticed that the governor has been relaxing the stay-home orders, and so as we prepare to get back into our churches, anything you want to say to the church members?
Yes.
So that we don't have...
We've gone from a stay-at-home order to a stay-safe order.
Yes.
And it's a gentle relaxing of restriction, I would call it, maybe a step. And I expect there's going to be more steps soon. But right now, we can go back to meeting together as small groups. Gatherings should not be more than 10 people. If it's more than 10 people, right now, really, if we're following the governor's order, about the only way we can meet is through a drive-in worship service. You know, everyone stay in their own cars in the parking lot kind of thing. Some of our churches are doing that. At least one of our churches is doing that, started in March. So we're thankful that, again, our people are resourceful. We're still a people with a health message, and we're trying to be good citizens and promote public health. But we're getting creative about worship and ministry.
Thank you very much. We will ask the president just to wrap this up and make some closing remarks.
First of all, I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you for your faithfulness, trusting in God in a crisis moment. Thank you for your faithfulness in ministering to others in this crisis moment. Thank you for your faithfulness in your financial stewardship, because that really does impact on how many pastors and how many teachers, how many people can be working from a paid standpoint in the Minnesota Conference. And really, truly, around the world. Our tithe goes beyond Minnesota. And so your faithfulness is appreciated. I would say we need to have faith in God. Continue to have faith in God. You know, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. He's going to direct your paths. He's going to make the path straight. And we just want to keep acknowledging His faithfulness. Keep praising Him. He is the Creator God, and He can be trusted.
Thank you.